He did it! Alright, I'll give it a blast. Oh, come on!
Welcome back, everyone. This week we're at Horseshoe. I'm here with Derek, Lucas, Chris, and Paul, and a guy called Sandy. We met him in the car park. He was by himself, and with the conditions being not perfect, we decided to see if he wanted to come along with us and just have a little bit more of a safe ride rather than just going solo and getting hurt. So, as you can see, it snowed. When I left in Toronto, the roads were clear. There was not a dab of snow anywhere to be seen, but as I got further and further and further away from the city, the snow started coming down a little bit. Well, there was snow everywhere. So we're just having to play around. It's interesting to get back and see the same place again now that all the leaves have fallen and the snow has come down. Trying to not spin up the wheels too much because otherwise it's very slippery, as you can imagine. Like the ground is just soft. It's quite wet, so I imagine this is probably going to shut after today. I don't see how this should keep going. Otherwise, the trails are just going to get completely obliterated. But right now, they're fine and actually completely rideable. There's not very many people here compared to like a usual day, but more than I expected. It's certainly a learning experience. I would say like riding in the snow kind of reminds me of how to ride on sand. I went into a puddle. Trying to avoid getting my feet wet because these Tech 7s they say that they're water resistant, but they're more like sponges. And I don't really want wet feet on a day like this bad. I mean, it's not too cold. It's like 1 degree or something. It's not minus anything. But I don't want my feet getting wet and then getting cold over the day. That's just miserable. Anyway, so what I noticed was after riding around on the snow for a little bit, I noticed that it felt more like riding on sand. So if I weighted the front a little too heavy, I would be losing the front end all over the place. Like it doesn't really grip hugely well, but I found that if I leant back quite a bit, you kind of just let the front skitter around, and it's totally fine. I was actually feeling fairly comfortable after a while. This is one of the earlier tracks before, I guess, everybody here decided to go for a ride through them. So it's a little hard to see where you're going. It's not so much seeing where the trail is. You can kind of make it out in the videos, not without too much difficulty, but it's more just like there's roots going across, there's random rocks, there's logs, trees that have been cut so they're pointing up, and I just don't want to like slam into anything or damage my bike or pop my tires. This tiny little thing spooked me, and then I didn't wheelie properly, and then I just hit it, of course, and then it moved, and so I got stuck, and now it's stuck between my rear wheel and my skid plate. But it's fine, it's not a big deal to get over. I was a little spooked because there was basically just one bike length's run up, and then there's an immediate small corner afterwards, and on a normal day with like infinite grip I probably wouldn't care, but I mean it's snowing, and I have my fair share of falls. I think everybody went over at least a few times today. Just couldn't get back on the couldn't get back on my pegs properly, and then my front hitting the side. I guess I got like a little focused on the side and it just went down. So just got to stay back and look where you're going, really, and try and drive with the rear rather than the front. So just a quick clip of the other guys, because I think they just let me go ahead most of the day, so I didn't really get much footage of the other fellas, unfortunately, but every so often I was behind them, so I just got a few clips here and there. You can see Paul was getting out as well, Chris getting out. I think Paul was finding the conditions a little bit unnerving. Perhaps needs to practice rating his rear up again. I guess like he's not as confident with sand riding, so something for him to work on next year. So here's like what most of the trails look like. You could see fairly clearly where to go. You just had to just stay quite far back on the front, because the front on the other bits you stay quite back. On this you could ride a little bit more normally. You just had to remember that the mud is wet and slippery and cold and refreezing in places, but it's really not too bad. I wouldn't say it was hero dirt, not even close personally. It was quite wet, and you did have to pay a lot of attention. It was quite unforgiving, especially if you start going off and then you hit into the snow, not the sand. Like the snow is not super slippery if you go wide, but if you go through a wet patch and you're just skidding, you just end up sliding off the trail. So quite a bit of attention needed to be paid. But like here, I'm just following Lucas, and then we're back out and found another single trail, and it's like, oh, nobody's been down this one. But like you can see where you can see clearly where to go. So you're not like just driving off randomly into the woods. Just got to take it a little bit easier when you can't see the routes. I really like this bit. It feels like it's all just closing in on you. You've got to avoid those trees still, though. Someone definitely hit that tree right there. Some bark's all peeled off. But look at this. Look how much you can see. I feel like this place is... I feel like it's almost unrecognizable compared to the summer where there's like trees and growth everywhere and all the plants and stuff, and all the leaves. It's really feels quite dense, and then like here it's just open and sparse, and it's really nice actually because you can look really far ahead. So that's actually kind of really cool. Something to help practice, really training on like keeping the flow and all that sort of stuff. But today was just a casual day. We don't want to go fast. We don't want to like tear up the ground, and we don't want to like crash on the ice because that would suck. Surprisingly, the OPP was still out today. They did all our plate checks and all that sort of stuff. We're just riding, and then randomly there was a bloody police car truck just parked in the middle of the woods. Like, oh, hello. Obviously, everything was fine. Yeah, they just let us go on our way and told us to have a nice day, and that was basically it. So last week I also actually asked the Ontario Enduro group about how to deal with whoops, and basically they were saying ride a gear higher, lean back, and just try and deal with them a little bit better. So I was trying that today actually, and there's a few sections where the whoops aren't quite as big as the Ganny, but they're still existing, so I was just having a little bit of like lean back and just try and blast through them. It worked pretty well. I mean, I just need to try it again now at the Ganaraska where the whoops are actually pretty bloody big. And I didn't really include any of the footage. Oh, here's a bit that was a little bit slippery. Went a little too far, and if it was dry I would have just centered over these things, but it's all wet and I can't really see what's going on, so I thought to get off and get over it safely. But I didn't put any of the footage of us riding the dual trail here because it's not hugely interesting, and you can't see my technique of me actually trying the whoops in the way that I was told to do it by the group. So I'll get back to the Ganaraska next year and get some like proper footage and like where the whoops are actually big and quite taxing. Oh, it's Sandy! Look, you can see him! I didn't get much footage, I'm sorry dude. So to wrap up this year, let's just watch and listen to the bike for a little bit, and you don't have to listen to me rap along. All in all, a great year. Met shitloads of people. Did 55.6 hours on this bike and 3 races. So that'll do till next time. See ya.